All right, everybody. Thursday, February 12th, and a powerful mid-latitude cyclone is about to cross the country from west to east over the next 4 days. And the forecast for this storm is one of the most fascinating model battles I have tracked all winter. On one end of the spectrum, the European model is showing this thing bombing out into a full-blown nor'easter with 988 millibar pressure, blizzard conditions in New England, and heavy wet-blowing snow from Massachusetts through Maine. On the other end, the GFS says this is mostly a rain event that never fully comes together off the coast. Those are wildly different outcomes for millions of people, and the truth is we are going to have to wait another day or two before we know which solution wins. But there is plenty that all three major models agree on, and I am going to walk you through every detail, including who gets severe weather, who has a shot at snow, who just gets soaked, and what the temperatures are doing through the rest of the month. By the way, if you'd like specific weather forecasts for your region or city, please leave them in the comments. I'll answer them individually as time allows. Also, if you like the video and subscribe to my channel, you'd be very grateful. Now, let's move on. First, let me set the scene for where we are right now, because today is actually the calm before the storm for most of the country. That warm, spring-like air we enjoyed earlier this week is getting shoved back as a cooler air mass pushes east across the Ohio Valley, Mid-Atlantic, and Northeast. Temperatures dropped significantly over the past 24 hours across a huge swath of the eastern states. Right now, we have rain showers stretching from Memphis through Atlanta, Columbia, Charlotte, all the way down to Valdosta and into parts of Florida. A clipper system is dropping light snow across the interior Northeast from the Finger Lakes through the Adirondacks and into Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine, with a couple of inches possible in the higher terrain. Meanwhile, out west, the next storm is already getting organized. Rain is falling from Eureka down through San Francisco, and snow is building across the higher elevations of the Rockies. All of that energy is going to combine and eject eastward to become the storm we are all watching. Tomorrow, Friday, is quiet for most of the eastern half of the country. High pressure builds in, and it is actually going to be a decent day for the majority of us east of the Mississippi. Enjoy it because the atmosphere is about to get very busy starting Saturday. Now let me break down the mechanics of this storm. It all starts with a Baja low, a mid-level piece of energy riding the southern branch of the jet stream through Baja, California. By Saturday morning, it crosses the southern Rockies and the surface storm begins to spin up. The upper-level trough creates strong divergence that pulls air upward from the surface, deepening the low pressure. The European develops this surface low over the Red River Valley by Saturday morning and tracks it east through the Ozarks by Saturday night. Here is where the critical difference happens. As the southern stream energy moves into the southeast by Sunday, the European model shows a piece of northern stream energy diving down from the Great Lakes region to meet it. When those two pieces of energy phase together off the east coast, the lift intensifies dramatically. It is like adding jet fuel to the storm. That phasing is what creates the bomb cyclone on the European, deepening to 988 millibars right along the New England coastline by Monday morning, with heavy, wet-blowing snow and near-blizzard conditions. The GFS tells a different story. It starts the same way through Saturday, almost identical to the European. But by Sunday, the southern stream energy is slower, and the northern stream energy does not fully connect. Without that clean phase, you never get the explosive deepening off the coast. Instead, you get a messy low pressure that brings rain through the mid-Atlantic and Northeast, but never really produces the wintry fireworks the European is advertising. The Canadian model lands somewhere in between, closer to the GFS overall, but does squeeze out some snow from the DC area up through central Pennsylvania and northern New Jersey into the interior Northeast. Not the powerhouse the European shows, but not nothing either. So what does this mean city by city? Let me walk through the impacts by region, starting with the one thing all three models agree on. Severe weather threat, Saturday into Sunday. The southern flank of this storm system is going to produce a severe weather threat along the Gulf Coast. The European ensembles show thunderstorm fuel building through Saturday afternoon from Dallas and Houston northward through Louisiana and into Mississippi and Alabama. Wind shear is going to be significant, which is the ingredient that organizes storms and can produce tornadoes. The probability of reaching severe criteria spikes highest near the Houston metro area on Saturday evening, around 50% on the European ensembles, and then rides the Gulf Coast eastward through Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, and into the Florida Panhandle. Here is the city-by-city breakdown. Dallas and Fort Worth see storms developing Saturday morning into afternoon, mainly a wind and rain threat. Houston has the highest probability for severe weather Saturday afternoon through evening with damaging winds, hail, and an isolated tornado threat. San Antonio and Austin see rain and scattered storms Saturday. Shreveport and the Ark-La-Tex pick up storms Saturday afternoon. Little Rock sees rain and gusty storms Saturday, but the core severe threat stays to the south. Baton Rouge and New Orleans face strong storms Saturday evening into overnight. Jackson, Mississippi picks up the threat Saturday night. The squall line pushes through Alabama overnight. Birmingham and Montgomery catch damaging winds late Saturday night into early Sunday. Mobile and Pensacola see storms overnight Saturday into Sunday morning. The Florida Panhandle from Tallahassee to Panama City catches the tail end. Atlanta gets rain and embedded storms Sunday morning. Nashville and Knoxville see rain and gusty winds Sunday. Charlotte picks up rain Sunday afternoon that could be heavy at times. Savannah and Charleston see storms Sunday afternoon. Winter weather potential, Sunday into Monday. This is the portion of the forecast with the widest range of outcomes. Using the European ensemble data, the probability of seeing at least 1 inch of snow from this system runs highest through a corridor from West Virginia up through western Maryland, the higher terrain of Pennsylvania, the Catskills of New York, through western Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island, New Hampshire, Vermont, and into Maine. Most of this corridor sits in the 30 to 50% probability range, with parts of Massachusetts and southern New Hampshire bumping up toward 50 to 60%. The probability of 4 inches or more, which is where this starts becoming a bigger deal, sits in the 30 to 40% range across interior New England and upstate New York on the European ensembles. The GFS ensembles are far less enthusiastic, showing only about 10% odds of accumulating snow for most of the region. Here is what that translates to for specific cities. Boston is in the most interesting position of any major city. If the European solution verifies with the bomb cyclone phasing, Boston could see 6 to 10 inches of heavy wet snow with strong winds creating near blizzard conditions. If the GFS wins, Boston gets cold rain and maybe a few flakes. The range is enormous. Worcester and the interior of Massachusetts have better odds for snow regardless of the exact track, potentially 4 to 8 inches. Hartford sits in a similar zone, 3 to 6 inches if the European is right, mostly rain if the GFS verifies. Providence is comparable to Hartford. Albany and the Hudson Valley have solid chances for snow on either solution, likely 3 to 6 inches. The Adirondacks and Tug Hill Plateau could see 8 to 14 inches if the European's heavier precipitation shield verifies. Burlington, Vermont, and the Green Mountains are in good position for 6 to 12 inches. Portland, Maine, and the Down East region have some of the best odds for significant snow, potentially 8 to 15 inches on the European solution. Now the I-95 corridor south of Boston. New York City is on the warm side of this on most model solutions. I would expect mainly rain with perhaps a brief changeover to wet snow at the tail end, maybe a coating to 2 inches at most, and quite possibly nothing sticking at all. Philadelphia has very low snow chances, mainly a rain and wind event. The ice threat that was showing up a few days ago has decreased significantly, with the European ensembles now only showing 10 to 20% odds of freezing rain. Washington, D.C. and Baltimore are looking at rain, period. Maybe a gusty rain with 1 to 2 inches of liquid, but snow is not in the cards for the nation's capital with this system. Richmond and Norfolk see a soaking rain Sunday into Monday. The Carolinas from Charlotte through Raleigh to Wilmington get heavy rain that is actually beneficial given the ongoing drought conditions. Wind impacts. Regardless of precipitation type, this storm is going to produce significant wind for the eastern seaboard if it deepens anywhere close to what the European shows. Even the GFS produces a decent wind field. The northeast coast from the Outer Banks through New England could see gusts of 35 to 50 miles per hour. If the Europeans' bomb cyclone verifies, that jumps to 50 to 65 miles per hour along the Massachusetts and Maine coastline, which combined with heavy wet snow would produce dangerous blizzard conditions and potential power outages. The West Coast. While everyone is focused on the eastern storm, the western states continue getting pounded. The Rockies are seeing snow right now and more is coming. The Sierra Nevada adds several more feet of snow through the weekend. Sacramento, San Francisco, and the Bay Area see more heavy rain. Los Angeles and Southern California face continued rainfall with flooding concerns growing. Portland and Seattle deal with extended rain. Salt Lake City picks up snow. Denver sees periodic snow showers clipping the Front Range. Temperature outlook. After the brief cool down today and tomorrow, warmer air fights back this weekend. The European ensembles show above-average temperatures holding from the 15th through the 20th. Chicago warms into the 50s by early next week. Kansas City and St. Louis reach the 60s. Dallas stays in the 70s. Minneapolis pushes toward 50. Des Moines and Omaha hit the 50s. It is going to feel like late March for a huge portion of the country by mid-next week. Here is the bottom line. A powerful storm system is going to cross the country from Saturday through Monday. Severe weather hits the Gulf Coast from Houston through Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, and the Florida Panhandle Saturday into Sunday. The Northeast snowstorm potential remains a high-end European solution versus a much tamer GFS outcome, with the interior from upstate New York through New England having the best odds regardless of which model verifies. The I-95 cities south of Boston are leaning toward rain. The wind threat is real for the entire eastern seaboard, and warmer air returns next week. The next 24 to 48 hours of model data will be decisive. I will be right back with updates as the picture sharpens. Stay safe, and we will talk again very soon.